going on, everybody? This is Translation, powered by Translation Media. I'm your host, Nick Beam.
I'm your host, Curtis Blair, one half of Translation. We are here with the credit consultant, Tishara Walker. She is here with us out of Las Vegas, Nevada. But we are here today to have a little bit of conversation about financial empowerment and credit and all those good things. So what's up, Nick? How you doing today, baby?
I'm doing smooth, man. I can't complain. Definitely interested in hearing how we can strategize on better repair and credit and just kind of, understanding how credit works. I feel like majority of people in this world don't really understand how credit actually works. I know I was one of people very young trying to figure out how all of it works. And
For sure.
it wasn't until I became an adult to really fully understand how to maximize credit. So it's good to have you on the show.
Happy to be here.
And I look forward to hearing your insight and input on how credit works.
Yeah, we need you to translate credit, please, for us and break it down. You know, we work together hand in hand on a day in, day out basis. Tishara has her own company, True Consulting, but we work hand in hand. She does all my credit repair for Blair and Associates. So we thought about, hey, if we're going to be helping the people and translating what's going on in the economy, what's going on in culture, and what's going on in business and lifestyle, everybody need to get their credit together. I mean, it's a foundation. So, T, tell us a little bit about what your skill set is and get a little bit of background about you.
Yeah, of course. So, I've been with True Consulting. I started it about a year ago, but I've been in the business for about 3 or 4 years now. Believe it or not, credit started with me back when I was like 16 years old. That's when I got my first credit card. And I always look back now to think that all of that experience, fast forward now, actually really helps me in how I maneuver with my clients and whatnot. So, my oldest credit card on my report is 16 years old. Yeah, I know. So it's a hard
You got an OG
to say
credit
that.
card.
Yeah. Being in the business, you learn that a lot of people just don't know the basics. So I got into it and I found like my passion started to grow because I'm like, man, a lot of people really need help with this. And so what I do is I pretty much educate my clients on helping them understand the basics of maintaining a good credit score, like what it takes to achieve over a 680, get into the 700 plus club. So whether it is that they need help on removing things, getting their report cleaned up, or getting into things that help build their credit again and helping them understand how to use credit cards, me and my team, we do it all.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some foundational things that people need to understand when it comes to credit?
If I had to give some pointers out, for the young ones who aren't being taught the same things that we're talking about today, is I think secure credit cards are really undervalued because it's really
Explain what a secure credit.
Yeah, it's really designed to give people an opportunity. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. So a secure credit card, what it allows you to do is you can take $200 out of your own money, place it onto the card, and now that becomes your line of credit. So the bank is pretty much giving you a chance, like, let me see how you handle your money before we offer you money. So within a 6-month period of time, if you show that you can use this card at a very minimal scale, as in don't max it out, even though it's $200, don't get it to $200. Use maybe $50 of it every month or so. You pay that $50 off. Within 6 months, you show that I use the card and you can trust me to pay it back. Most banks, after 6 months, they will convert you over to a traditional credit card. So boom, now you got your first secure credit card, which is building up payment history, credit history, all the things, and it's aging. And then now you have your second card where you can get approved for traditional. So I feel like a lot of people need to look at the credit building opportunities that are available to them to start building up their credit and whatnot. Even if you're someone that's messed up your credit, it's a good way for you to start restoring it and fixing it too.
So credit, what would you say is the uses of credit? Why would people need to keep their credit good and everything else?
Because it makes life easier. Like it just, when it comes to anything that you're trying to get yourself into, and I think a lot of people don't put that together too. Like when they think about getting a car, they think about getting an apartment. Nobody realizes that the credit is the number one thing they're going to look at. That's what you have in your back pocket. And people don't realize it, so they try to get an apartment. They're like, they didn't approve me. It's like,
Right.
all right, well, because your credit's bad.
Right.
Now I'm looking into my credit because you denied me. You didn't give me something that I wanted. So anything that we have going in our life, from getting a car, from getting our apartment.
So 20% interest rates aren't good?
No, 20%. I mean, we need to be in single digits. Like,
Okay.
20% is terrible. Like anything double digits. I mean, if you can get 3% and under, that's wonderful.
Right.
So yeah, credit ties in to everything, even down to us getting a job. I got clients right now that call me and they say, I need a letter that says you're working on my credit, because they will not hire me unless they know I'm doing something about it. So all those things that, people may be seeing on social media about the videos, like it ties into your job, your APR on your cars, your credit cards, it's all true.
When you look at the way we talk about politics and government, not to get into a rant about that, but like when you hear trillions of dollars in debt, and people hear debt, and immediately have a negative assumption about debt. So can you break down?
I was going to say, we should talk about that.
Can you break down what debt really means and how we should utilize it?
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of goes back to like what your grandma was talking to you about, because people hear the word debt and it's like you shouldn't be in debt. But I look at it like it's more on how you're handling your debt. Like if I have a credit card that I'm using and I took out $10,000, but I'm putting that down on a home and now that's getting me income into my house, that's not bad debt.
Right.
I'm using that debt correctly. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short, especially on credit cards, because you think that it is your money. Now, if you have let's just give an example. If you have a $5,000 credit card and you got $5,000 in the bank, then you can afford that credit card. So if you go out and spend that, then you can pay it back. But if you have that card and you're using that money knowing how much income you have coming in, knowing that you can afford it, but you continue to swipe, that's what gets people in the hole. So I feel like when it comes to good debt, if you're utilizing that and putting that towards something that creates income into your household or goes towards a business or anything that you're trying to grow, then that's good debt to me.
So people shouldn't be trying to get credit to go to Jamaica.
No,
K-Max card on a vacation.
I mean, all the bags, the shoes, and I feel like that's what a lot of people are doing. Like everybody gets excited. I mean, getting approved for a credit card is exciting. You know what I'm saying? I just got approved for Amex Platinum. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Get the Amex Platinum.
Could I go out there and run it up? Absolutely.
Was you scared? Yes.
Yes, I was. I got credit card trauma. I feel like a lot of people have credit card trauma. Like I was $25,000, $30,000 in debt like almost 2 years ago. And could I file for bankruptcy, do all the things? Sure. But I'm like, no, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to pay the stock. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to do that. You know what I've noticed with my clients is it's easy for people to spend the money. It's hard for them to pay it back. But you don't understand that paying it back gets you more money.
What are the foundations that build a good credit score?
So the main things to build a good credit score is you have to establish credit history. The only way that you can do that is having a mixture of revolving credit and installment credit. The only way you can get revolving credit is credit cards. The way you can get installment credit is having a mortgage, a student loan, or an auto loan. So having like one installment and then maybe at least 2 or 3 credit cards, that's a good start. So if you have that conversation with a secure credit card, having a secure credit card, having a traditional, and you should be able to get approved for a second one, or you could have 2 secures. That's a good start, okay? Once you have that established of your mix of credit, then you need to make sure that you're making your payments on time. That's honestly the biggest thing when it comes to credit. And I don't think people understand that you could miss one payment on your credit report and it could drop you down 100 points. So once you have your credit mix established, then you make sure you're making your payments on time. Showing that you can make your payments on time for a long end, for 6 months to a year and continue, that's what helps build your credit. Those people that are in a 700 to 800 is because they've showed for a long time, I can make my payments on time and you can trust me. So your payment history, your credit mix, also making sure that your inquiries are low. Everybody needs to understand that when they're applying for things, when it comes to credit, it does ding you. So you running up inquiries 20, 30, like that will hurt your report as well. So you have to make sure that your inquiries are low. So really having your credit mix, your payment history, and then credit age. A lot of people from their credit card trauma is they like to pay their stuff off and close it, not understanding that does damage to the credit report. So when you have gotten to the point where you are juggling your credit cards very well, keep them open. Even if you don't want to use them anymore, keep them open, because when you can show a bank, I've had this credit card for 6-7 years, I use it very minimally, you can trust me to pay it back on time, that's what gets you your higher credit limits. That's what gets you approved for things for the bank, whether it's a loan, the extra credit cards, business funding, all the above. So credit mix, payments on time, your credit age, and keeping your inquiries low.
And utilization. Utilization is another factor. Because utilization, if you're over leveraged, they look at you as a bad lendable person, or entity in that capacity. So if you're over 30%, they look at you as high risk. So they would love for you to be under the 30%. But if you want to go get more credit, under the 10% aspect is more. That's why you can add on more credit, and it takes down your utilization. The more credit that you have over time, the better your utilization looks, because you now, say if you have 50,000 as opposed to 1,200 of utilization, of credit, when it comes to looking at your utilization and you spend 500 on that 2,500, your utilization is going to be high.
Yeah.
But if you use 500 on 50,000, they're going to look at it like, oh, I mean, he's still a good steward of the money that we're lending out to them. So we'll continuously work with them in that capacity. Building bank relationships is key. Credit unions, a lot of these different places are key, and making sure that your profile is in the right areas and right direction, and meeting the bank's metrics when you're trying to go, and making sure that you're trying to get more money and being lendable.
Got it.
I feel like everybody should have 2 bank accounts. You should have one credit union and one traditional bank.
Mm-hmm. Just that many?
To start.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a question about, there's been gurus that's all over social media, and they talk about making multiple payments. Obviously, multiple payments would be good, but like they were talking about statement dates, balance dates, and stuff like that, the different dates that are on your actual statement and paying one date versus the other. Is that actually true? Like the reporting date versus the statement date or something like that?
I feel
What is
like
that?
there's, to me, especially having credit cards for so long, there's many ways that you could go about it. I feel like when you pay it before the statement date, what you're doing is you're saving money on interest. So if you let that date hit, then now the interest is on top of that. But if I pay that balance before it closes out, then there is no interest, because what do you charge me on if I paid it?
Right.
So when people are talking about that, they're just saying you save money on the back end when it comes to interest. That's my take on it. Can you make multiple payments on the credit card? Absolutely. They want to see that. Can you make a big lump sum at one time? Yes. I personally feel like it does the same thing. It all really depends on your balance. So if I had a $5,000 balance on my card and I just make $1,000 payment, which puts me down to 4, and the bank sees, okay, she paid the 1,000, she paid another 500, another 500, that looks good.
Okay.
It also looks good if I just hit you with $5,000 payment too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more of just making sure your utilization stays low. However you want to do that, it all counts to look good back to the bank.
And the credit, the bureaus, they look at that if you're paying before the interest date.
But
right?
the strategists are right. But at the same time, when you're going in and you're dealing with your credit and the reporting date, this helps your credit score as opposed to when we're talking about utilization.
Gotcha.
So say if your statement date is the 4th of the month, but you pay it on the 30th, that's the reporting date. When you find out the reporting date, that is very key to keep your utilization down, because if they report on the 30th and you go to pay, say if you pay your balance is $2,500 and you pay that $2,500 on the 4th, your statement date or your reporting date is going to still have the balance.
Gotcha.
The statement date, now you done paid it on time. Yes, your on-time payments are good, but your utilization, whatever it's going to be, is going to be affected by that reporting date.
Gotcha.
So that's what is key about the reporting date as opposed to the statement date.
Okay.
So both of you are correct, and what they're saying is correct too, but making sure that, say, like we said, if you have a $2,500 limit and you spent $1,000, your utilization at that point in time is at 50% or whatever, 45%, whatever that percentage is. But when you pay it before that reporting date, now you're back to that 2,500 max limit that you haven't touched, because now they're reporting as you paid it in full.
Gotcha.
The credit bureaus don't see that you make multiple. The banks see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The credit bureaus, they see that you make it on time, and when you look at your credit report, it gives you the check. That's all they see.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you guys are saying there's multiple ways to look at it, and again, we're all on social media. It's a part of our life.
For sure.
And you see so many people post things and claim that they're gurus and stuff like that. And you just never know. And again, obviously making multiple payments on a credit card balance and during that statement period obviously is a good deal. But do the bureaus and do the banks actually look at that and say, okay, great, this person's making 2 payments. This person paid before the interest date.
Multiple payments is great, especially when you got a mortgage. So those, because you have your principal and you have your interest. So if you're paying on both, you can reduce the amount of time that you have your mortgage. So as opposed, say if you had a 15-year mortgage, you might be able to pay it off in about 10 years. I'm just throwing out numbers. You're going to be able to pay it off in 10 years because you're paying on the principal and the interest.
Gotcha.
The interest is what makes you drag it out. And that's where really the mortgage companies make their money at, is on the interest. So once you pay the principal and you pay the interest on top of the principal, that's what they're talking about, multiple payments. You're paying down your whole mortgage quicker because you're not just letting the interest accrue over time.
Gotcha.
Same thing with a car.
Okay.
You can make weekly payments. My sister does that on her Tesla. So same thing.
Okay.
The banks do look at, the history that you are creating with them. I always tell my clients, like, if you maintain a high balance, they keep track of that. How long did you have that high balance? They keep track if you're only making the minimum payment. They always say if your payment's $25, pay $5 or $10 more. Do not just make the minimum. You always want to pay a little bit more if you can. And then once you make that minimum payment throughout the month, if you can make another payment, do that. Because the banks do watch that. They do keep track of that. And that's what helps you get, your higher credit limits when you're trying to get that approved.
Got you. So you've been in this business for quite some time. Like, what are are there reoccurring issues that the average client that you have is having? Like, because I feel like, again, when we opened up this discussion about credit, understanding what credit is, we can come to a conclusion. A lot of people don't understand credit.
Shit, life happens. That's what's going on.
Always happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a gimme. Yeah, we both share,
Right.
situations where, we couldn't keep track of credit. There's been multiple times throughout my life where I'm like, all right, I got to make a decision. My dad is funny as hell. I would sit and hang out with him. Like, let's say we watching football on Sunday.
Right.
And I'd ask him a question, how do you handle stress kind of questions? And he's like, look, but bill collector calls me. I don't stress. I just pick up the phone and tell them I can't pay it.
Right.
I'll pay you when I pay you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there. We just had like this blank moment where we just busted out laughing because I understood.
Yeah.
But it made sense. It was just like, why do I stress? Like, if I could pay it, I'll pay it.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't saying it to say neglect paying bills. He just was saying, why am I going to stress? I already know I can't make the payment
I know my
today.
situation,
I can't
dog.
make the payment. Yeah. And if you ever meet my dad, I have like a similar personality to him, but he'll look you dead square in your face and say, yeah, like, what do you? So his hands up like
He got the nonchalant attitude, like. But I mean, when you stuck in that situation, like, what can you do? It's just like tell the truth. People tell the truth.
You can't control.
But
Control what you can control. This too shall pass.
But people stress though.
They
Like
do.
people will stress. I mean,
They don't like them phone calls coming in, OG, for real.
That's what you got to. That's where you got the ignore button. Send them the voicemail. Like, but again, my dad really put it in perspective for me. He was like, well, I can't pay it.
Yeah.
He was like, what do you want me to do?
You got a date for me? Nope.
But in situations where
yeah, exactly.
you have, there's relationships, significant others, and you're managing credit with a partner. And now that becomes an issue.
Yeah.
We can't pay this bill, and one's stressing, the other one isn't, and that becomes tumultuous in the relationship. Like, but it's just in general. It could be a mom, it could be a parent, it could be a roommate, it could be a significant other, whatever relationship and the other person stresses. Like, that's why usually when I'm asking these type of questions, where are the stress levels at with the person that you're dealing with? People stress over things they can't control in the moment.
People need to work on being more open with their communication. I say that to my clients all the time. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and talk to the bank. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to talk to your partner if you can't afford something. A lot of people are just afraid to communicate, and that could just come from the lack of information, not knowing that I do have options when I call.
Sure.
Everybody needs to understand that credit can always be restored. You know what I'm saying? A collection account can always be deleted. It could be paid for, however you want to go about it. So that's one thing that people should take their stress off. If I can't handle it now, I'll worry about it later. If you're at a 580 today, a year from now, you could be at a 700.
If you're at a 580 today, you'll still be at a 580 if you can't pay that bill. I mean, dead ass though. Like, for real, you gotta really think about it. Like, if you're in that position and it's for a reason, why stress about it? Just work your hardest to get yourself out of that situation. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Quit eating out, cut the cable off, you know what I'm saying? Stop buying bottles, buy your little Chevy Malibu, get your affairs in order.
Keep up with the Joneses.
Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. You can't buy every Jordan. Maybe have you one pair of Jordans at the crib, but you might need to sell your Jordan collection. But if you really want to be in a financially stable situation, you got to come to a realization, like, all the stuff that could be a distraction to you or a distraction to your bank account needs to be removed, and that people have to figure out ways to eliminate distractions in that capacity.
A lot of people need to look at their wants and their needs and separate the two.
Facts.
Because when you can do that, you become more disciplined to get more focused on, things that you need, like your goals. You know what I'm saying? So if you know your goals and you work towards that, then you can make the plan to get your credit right, get your money right, all the things that a lot of people aren't here. They're not planning.
I think this has been very insightful. We don't want to give them too much game because then they wouldn't consult. You know, so tell us where we can find you at on social media and website.
Yes,
like that.
on social media, I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. You can find me at Tishara Walker on my personal page to get in contact with my True Consulting page. So just look up True Consulting. You'll find me on Instagram. Through there, you can send me a message. We can book a consultation, and I can give you all the game that you need.
Awesome.
Definitely. Definitely tap in with C. Blair and Associates. We are a umbrella, and she is a part of the umbrella. We keep it pushing here. We got CL Code out there working with brands and marketing. We have what other brands and marketing that we got?
We got Pure Entertainment,
Yep.
Kickback IP
for sure,
social activation IP. And yeah, we're building a strong ecosystem. Tishara is very much a part of that ecosystem
for sure.
And yeah, this ecosystem that we have is tapped into Translation Media as well. So this is where you can find us on all handles, Translation Media. This is another episode of Translation.
This is Kurt Blair, C. Blair Associates. You can find me there, or you can call me or hit me on Mr. C. Blair on all social media platforms as well. But this is a good conversation because you need to get your credit together. That is a very key aspect of life in general. So make sure that you're being financially responsible. You're educating yourself. If it's not with us, it's somebody else. So there's a lot of people out here that are giving great information. And make sure that you are taking heed and also learning this information on your own to make sure that you know which path and direction is right for you, because it's not cookie cutter. So let's tap in a little bit later. Everybody stay solid. Thanks for listening to Translation Media.
Peace.